So there you go. It says, I don't know Samuel L. Jackson to best of my knowledge. Haven't played golf with him and think he does too many TV commercials. Boring, not a fan.
Not a bad.
It all began with a simple game of golf, or so it appeared. Hollywood legend Samuel L. Jackson, renowned for his sharp humor and powerful presence on screen, found himself in a public war of words with none other than Donald Trump. This was not just an ordinary disagreement. It was filled with pointed remarks and allegations, revealing a far more complicated relationship than most had assumed. At the core of the controversy was Jackson calling out Trump's conduct on the golf course. He did not hold back, directly accusing Trump of cheating, an allegation that Trump, unsurprisingly, denied. But Jackson did not stop there. He asserted that Trump barely knew him or what he represented. That remark seemed to strike a nerve, igniting what would evolve into a long-standing rivalry.
They're trying to look between you people. Don't talk to me.
Hey, you shut your face. If we want to hear you talk, I will shove my arm up your ass and work your mouth like a puppet. You hear me? You hear me? Cash bar. Peace out, bitches.
And this is where things became even more intriguing. Trump responded by claiming he did not even know Jackson, a striking statement given that they had played golf together and shared mutual Hollywood connections. Was this a case of forgetfulness, or was Trump attempting to protect his image? Jackson was not one to let it go, reinforcing his side of the story and making it clear there was much more to uncover. This was not just a case of two well-known figures exchanging verbal blows. It was a battle of egos, rooted in years of interactions and underlying tension that had finally surfaced.
Played golf with him.
I played golf with him.
He claims...
I actually played golf with him with Anthony Anderson one day.
Gotcha.
And we were all playing together, and we clearly saw him hook a ball into a lake at Trump National in Jersey. And his caddy told him he found it.
Now was the caddy soaking wet when he said this?
No, he was not. Yeah, he just took off running, and next thing you know, I got it, Mr. Trump. And you're like, oh, did you see a splash?
Jackson did not hesitate to voice his opinions about Donald Trump. According to Jackson, Trump never truly understood who he was, not just as an actor or a celebrity, but as a person with deeply held values and principles. He made it clear that Trump's assumptions about him were completely misguided. What seemed to frustrate Jackson the most was Trump's tendency to twist the truth. Their connection was not just a passing acquaintance or a single interaction. Jackson maintained that they had spent time together, played golf, and moved within the same social circles. Yet Trump acted as if they were practically strangers. To Jackson, this felt like a calculated misrepresentation, a way for Trump to dismiss him and avoid taking responsibility. But Jackson was not about to let that go unchallenged. He openly criticized the way Trump portrayed their relationship, calling it misleading and dishonest. For him, this was not just a petty dispute. It was about ensuring that the truth was known. No matter how much Trump tried to minimize their connection, Jackson was determined to set the record straight. By speaking out, Jackson was not just defending himself. He was calling out Trump's habit of rewriting history. In doing so, he intensified a conflict that was becoming impossible to ignore. This was no mere clash of personalities. It was a battle over who controlled the narrative.
Quick question about a little kerfuffle that you and Donald Trump are in. I just wanted to know, are you surprised that this has become a thing in the press?
Is it a thing in the press? No, it's not. Tell me it's not. I mean, really? I mean, out of all the things that need to be dealt with presidentially, he's worried about me saying that he cheats at golf? Or, that he doesn't really know me? Is that what the deal is? Wow, that's awful. Let me see. Let me fix that. Let me find something that might help me with that. This. Let me see. Can we get this on camera? Would that be a bill from Trump National? I think it is.
Why do you think he's saying...
I don't know. I don't care. Yeah, come on. He has to say whatever he has to say, he has to say. You know, and it's one of those interesting things that he called me one day to play golf, not to play with him, but to play with a friend of his. And I went to play with that friend of his, and that friend of his turned out to be Bill Clinton.
Things escalated further when Samuel L. Jackson made a bold declaration. He was a better golfer than Donald Trump. Given Trump's pride in his golfing skills and ownership of several high-end golf courses, this was like provoking a bull with a red flag. But Jackson's statement was not just about ability. It came with an accusation. Trump had a habit of bending the rules on the golf course. In other words, Jackson subtly suggested that Trump cheated. But the real twist? After one of their golf games, Trump allegedly signed Jackson up for one of his golf clubs without his permission. A few weeks later, Jackson received an unexpected bill for membership fees. Trump had charged him for something he had never agreed to. Most people might have handled the situation quietly, but not Jackson. He refused to pay the bill and made it clear that he would not play by Trump's rules, whether on or off the golf course. This incident only added more fuel to their already intense rivalry. It was no longer just about golf. It became a matter of pride and principle. For Trump, who thrives on control and loyalty, Jackson's defiance must have stung. And for Jackson, this was about standing up to someone who, in his words, had no real understanding of who he was. The fallout from this deepened their conflict, paving the way for even more personal attacks in the years that followed. Donald Trump is not known for handling criticism lightly, and Samuel L. Jackson's public remarks clearly struck a nerve. Trump responded in the only way he knows, by going on the attack. His first move? Claiming that he did not even know Jackson. This was a surprising claim, considering the photos of them golfing together and their many mutual friends. For many, it was difficult to believe. How could someone forget a figure as iconic as Samuel L. Jackson? But Trump did not stop there. He took aim at Jackson's career, criticizing him for appearing in too many television commercials. According to Trump, Jackson had become overexposed, making him, in Trump's words, boring. The irony of this remark was hard to miss, coming from someone who had spent years relentlessly promoting his own brand. Jackson, unsurprisingly, did not let this slide. He turned the tables, exposing Trump's denial of their friendship as an outright lie.
Trump is firing back at movie star Samuel L. Jackson after the actor accused him of cheating at golf in a recent interview. So in the latest issue of United Airlines Rhapsody magazine, Jackson claimed one of Trump's golf clubs charged him membership fees without his knowledge. The magazine then asked Jackson if he was a better golfer than the Donald, and Jackson reportedly said, "I am for sure, because I don't cheat." Well, Mr. Trump has responded with, what else? A tweet saying, "I don't know Samuel L. Jackson to the best of my knowledge, haven't played golf with him, and think he does too many commercials. Boring, not a fan." Sorry. That's great.
What made things even more revealing was Jackson's reminder that he and Trump had been on friendly enough terms to share golf games and conversations. The mutual friends who vouched for their past interactions only reinforced Jackson's claims. Trump's dismissal of Jackson as boring seemed particularly strange, considering Jackson's reputation as one of Hollywood's most charismatic and engaging actors. At this point, their conflict was no longer just a simple disagreement. It was turning into a public battle between two strong-willed figures, both determined to have the final say. For Jackson, it was about protecting his reputation. For Trump, it was about maintaining his public image. But Jackson did not stop at simply calling out Trump's misrepresentation. He went a step further, shedding light on their past interactions. This was not just a brief encounter between two celebrities. According to Jackson, they had shared numerous social experiences, including several rounds of golf and casual gatherings. Their connection was not something Trump could easily dismiss. To back his claims, Jackson pointed to mutual friends, most notably actor Anthony Anderson, who had reportedly witnessed their friendship firsthand. Anderson's statements only strengthened Jackson's argument, confirming that the two had spent significant time together. This was not just speculation, it was a direct contradiction to Trump's claim that he barely knew Jackson. What made this revelation so striking was the clear contrast it created. Trump, who had publicly insisted that he had no real connection to Jackson, was now faced with evidence that suggested otherwise. Jackson's accounts of their shared experiences made Trump's denial appear, at best, highly questionable and, at worst, outright dishonest. For Jackson, this was not just about winning an argument. He saw it as a pattern of behavior, Trump rewriting history whenever it served him. By bringing attention to their past interactions, Jackson made sure that people understood this feud was not random. It had real roots, shaped by a history that Trump was now trying to erase. When Jackson first spoke out, he likely did not anticipate how much their conflict would escalate. Initially, he seemed almost taken aback by the depth of their feud. What began as a few pointed remarks about golf and integrity soon spiraled into something much larger, especially once Trump became president. Suddenly, their personal clash was no longer just a Hollywood dispute. It had become national news.
President Trump.
You just got that stare.
No, he didn't. That was my resting face. I didn't do it. That's like, that was that look my mom would give me when I said something that really made no sense. Made no sense whatsoever.
It's a real pleasure.
Thank you.
As always.
Trump's rise to the presidency brought an entirely new dimension to their feud. For Jackson, this was no longer just a personal issue. With Trump now holding significant political power, everything he said or did carried far more weight. Jackson, known for speaking his mind, was not about to remain silent, especially when he felt compelled to challenge Trump's words and actions on a public stage. What made their rivalry even more intense was how Trump's presidency amplified public interest in their exchanges. Suddenly, every comment, every insult, and every new revelation became a headline. People were no longer just intrigued by their past. They wanted to see what would happen next. Jackson's outspoken nature, combined with Trump's tendency to hit back at critics, turned their feud into a spectacle that drew attention from all sides.